It's all about this chamber over here. At least we got some basic tips about this place, I guess. So if I want to imbue my Reaver with anything else, I cannot... Yeah, that's gonna reject. I need to bring the Wind Reaver for this. It's probably gonna... There's also gonna be some other reality manipulation. I'm pretty sure of it. But yeah, I hope that honk did not woke up anybody. Yeah, that's a torch. And I possibly need to carry this torch somewhere. Okay, show me. Show me where I need to deliver you. Now I need to somehow deliver you all the way... Oh. Oh, that didn't work. I think it's all timed. Not really timed, but... Okay, so that lowers this, which allows him to make the Reaver with the elemental power of wind. Now the light one is exposed like that. And I can jump on it too. So that means right now I need to use the light Reaver for something. I'm pretty sure I can swim in this river of blood. And what could it be? Where could I use you? Is there like some kind of... There was some kind of a crystal that I could activate. If only the camera would like to work with me, that would be great. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so that drains... That drains the blood from the room, which, in effect, allows me to use this. Alright, so that now went down, which I think it's actually the point. Because now that I'm gonna be swimming, I should be able to use those columns over here, because Wind Reaver does not dissipate in the blood like fire would. Okay. So now the point is to deliver a flaming fire from one point to another, I think. But to do that, I'm probably gonna have to swim and bring in another torch. Am I allowed to bring out the torch? Yes, I am. Okay, so they kept that from the original Soul Reaver, thank God. I'm currently running on what I think is right. I'm not really sure if what I'm trying to do is correct. Oh yeah, this goes smoothly. Butter. Straight up butter. Okay, so what's the point right now? Because the game definitely tells me, hey, use the light fountain to light the crystal so it can do the other things. At least I think it's about that. Then again, let me see the other side. Maybe let's make sure that what I'm trying to do is actually correct. Somehow the fire underwater, it still works. I can save my game over here. Hell yes, I'm gonna save it. I've made so much progress, of course I'm gonna save that. I am stupid. I may be impatient, but I'm not stupid. Yeah, it's most likely me using the light Reaver over here. Of course, aiming in this game is horrendous. At this point, I'm starting to think that it's not even about using the light Reaver. It's about figuring out a different set of controls for this game. Okay, so that didn't reach to where I wanted because of those gargoyle statue. Okay, so now that drops the water. And it's gonna do it for a limited time. Yep, there it is. There goes the timer. But what this column is for then? Were there like 3 steps? Do I need to bring the torch with fire all the way from the bottom while using the columns? They are basically spread all over, all on the side, because it definitely feels like it. Let me try to get on the other side. Maybe I need to find another torch for this. Yeah, there it is. Now don't get stuck into this, Larazio. That would be wrong. I wish I could. In original Soul Reaver, you could actually throw items. Like when you were aiming down the sights with the item, you could just throw them like this. Dude, I can actually do that. Holy shit. Okay, let me try to do this. That's gonna be an honest attempt. I'm not sure if what I'm doing is actually gonna be correct. Did that actually work? Hold up a second. That cannot be. That could not work. Don't tell me that I just cheesed the system. Nope. The torch chef came back because the torch chef disappeared. So developers have noticed that as well. Okay. In original Soul Reaver 1, you could cheese some of the puzzles by just throwing the key items on the other end of the room, and you could just perform like such a cheese lordy move. Yeah, I'm not surprised that they actually changed the spawns of the items like this because of that. Yeah, I understand now why. I believe I understand what I need to do as well. It's gonna be most likely me trying not to get insane from the obnoxious camera controls or the hitboxes. And that's gonna lower this thing down. Oh, but that also creates a problem. Because I just lit this thing up and nothing happens. Okay. Alright then, okay, so I'm missing on something. There's some kind of a small detail that I'm definitely missing. Like, I think I'm supposed to bring the torch all the way over here on this thing over here, but I cannot do that. Or maybe... Hold up. Another thing that I could try to do. Another thing that I can try to do. Yeah, the one I'm losing the item from side, it disappears, like, totally. Oh boy. I think we did it, guys. Yep. GG's.
I plunged the Reaver into that furnace and forged the blade with elemental fire. With the Reaver thus imbued, I was now armed to unlock the elemental barrier and rescue Janos from his executioners.
And that increases my health as well. I'm gonna save the game because of that. Because that's a final Reaver. Now to get Janos Aldrin. Because from this point on, it's gonna be pretty much it is pretty much a situation of get Janos Aldrin and then get to Seraphon Stronghold. And if everything's gonna go right, we're definitely gonna finish up this game today, 100%.
To bury us alive. Raziel, we must get out of here. Remember the sword!
Forgive me. I'm sorry. I failed you.
No, Razia. Perhaps this was my true purpose. Simply to save your life this once.
While I have taken yours.
Embrace your destiny, Razia. You must reclaim the Reaver. It was forged for you and you alone. Without it, there is no hope.
As I backed away from Janos's body, I was overwhelmed by a sense of self-loathing so deep I could barely contain it. In that instant, I rejected all that I ever was, and embraced the role Janos had safeguarded for me so patiently throughout the centuries. I knew then what I had to do, the task for which I was uniquely prepared. I would pursue the Seraphon dogs to their loathsome fortress and avenge Janos Aldrin's murder. Mobius would pay dearly for his treachery, and my Seraphon brethren would reap the horrors they had sown. I would retake the stolen Reaver, which was rightfully mine. And finally, when all these debts had been paid, I would reclaim Janos Aldrin's heart from their filthy, unworthy hands. If the heart was truly imbued with the power to restore vampiric unlife, its highest purpose was clear to me. I would restore the heart to Janos, and thus undo the vile crime committed by my abominable former self.
It's pretty much time, guys. This is pretty much like we are wrapping up this. Because we all know what we need to do. We now need to get back all the way to the Seraphon Stronghold. And this part, getting to the Seraphon Stronghold, is the most difficult part. This is... If you guys thought that difficulty of this game right now is, like, wrong, you guys have no idea. The difficulty of the game right now is gonna just spike up to tremendous numbers. Yeah, the fights during this part are gonna be absolutely painful. This is where the game turns into a fucking Dark Souls. And I'm not even joking.
Expecting you, little Razia.
So, these demonic pests were not merely the product of Nosgoth's corrupted future, for here they were, hurtling back over 5 centuries to pursue me. These creatures, I suspected, were minions of the unseen forces that had hoped to control me. This was the tangible expression of their displeasure. These demons were unleashed as the penalty for my disobedience.
This is why I'm gonna use Reaver all the time. From this point on, it's all Reaver fights. I'm not gonna use anything else. And if my health is gonna turn low, I'm basically gonna go to the Spectral Realm.
Let me enlighten you.
I see what you did there. Because you're a type of enemy that uses lightning. It's a shame that I can just one-shot you, all of you. The stronger the Reaver, the higher the health consumption, but also with the higher power of the Reaver, it just ignores all the defenses of the enemies. Wait, you're a mage, right? No, you're not running away. Give me your health. There we go. Much better. Oh yeah, when it comes to the halberd guy, I'm just gonna... Okay. Oh, you're gonna be a prick. Yeah, the halberd guys are one-trick ponies, by the way. That is their entire strategy, just constantly jab. No time for break. I actually wonder if I can power attack through these guys. Out of pure curiosity.
There he is, the savior of Nosgoth.
Bullies! Wow. Okay, dude. Okay, dude. I told you, one-trick pony. One-trick pony. The amount of boxes that they have, it's so oh my goodness, they're just so ridiculous. These guys are the worst. I really want to kill myself. There we go. I really want to try it. Oh, I can actually damage them with this. Okay. Wow. Get fucked. Okay, I can actually keep these guys at a distance. That's pretty great. I'm gonna save the game here.
You will die now.
No, first I will save, then I will die. Yeah, the fights in this part are just not really good. Not very well thought out. Okay, so where's the second guy? Because I need to kill all of them if I want to move forward. Oh my god, this also one-trick pony. Another one-trick pony. And there's nothing I can do. Wow. And you know what, guys? What's even the worst part? These guys can go to the Spectral Realm. In Spectral Realm, you have even less health. And this guy just sucked the soul that I could eat. He just one-trick pwned me, you know, with the AoE, because, you know, fair and balanced. The fights inside over here are basically the worst that you can get. Not even questions asked. There's no need for questioning. And you guys remember that melee weapon that I had? Yeah, it's gone now. Unless... Oh, yes. Yes, please and thank you. The gates are still locked because we got, yeah, these guys over there. But the thing is, if I'm gonna approach them too closely, both Seraphan and the bully boy will actually attack me. Yeah, Seraphan is not even, like, bothering with attacking this guy. Oh, never mind. Okay, let's see who's gonna win. Seraphan has no right of winning this fight. That is my opinion. But killing Seraphan right at this point for me, that's basically an easier job. Oh yeah, again, one-trick pony. Again, one-trick pony. If it's not this attack, it's something else. Okay, so I cannot get up there, and probably not from this side, but I'm gonna try to go from the other side, because I definitely need to heal myself. And yeah, because it's this platform, I have also lost the trident. If you can even call it a trident. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the Reaver.
Over there.
Yeah, I can just observe from here. The Seraphans can take, like, most of the fighting for me. I know I'm cheese-lording this, but I'm not going through the Dark Souls difficulty. If the game gives me an opportunity to be an absolute cheese wanker, I'm going to be. Okay, where's that mage? Oh no, that's not the mage. That's something was. Let me get the trident. No, trident. I'm really trying to dodge, but like I said, this is the worst part of the game, but from this point, the moment we're gonna pass all of this, the game actually can become very rewarding, like all the suffering with all these assholes. It's all gonna get returned. Also you're not running away. Yeah, run. Just run any other way. Thank you. Can I pick up the trident from over there? Thank you again. Good game, good game. And I just lost the trident because video game. And now these guys are even worse. These guys are the toughest enemies. No, wait, there goes my trident. Yeah, these guys don't even feel any pain. And they are basically locked on you all the time. And of course I cannot see anything because of the camera view. Yeah, they are the worst. They are the absolute worst. And of course, because their previous friends could go to the Spectral Realm, now this guy can also go to Spectral Realm. And now I'm fucking surrounded, and this guy's AoE attacks. Yeah, this is gonna be a checkpoint. There's no way I can avoid. They're basically constantly locked on upon me. And we have lost all of that progress, guys. All of the progress that we just made, lost. This is Dark Souls. This is not even Dark Souls. Dark Souls at least punishes you for making mistakes. Here, you don't even have a time to make a mistake, because the game is just gonna absolutely annihilate you. This part over here knows no mercy, like zero. Absolutely zero mercy. If you're gonna make a mistake, you're gonna lose the Fire Reaver, you're done.
There's another one.
Like, this guy is the worst, and the worst part about all of this is every time you're gonna lose the fight with him, his health restores to 100%. So, yeah. And that halberd was probably the only thing that could, like, help me. Yeah, we are all the way back in Ustenheim. All the way back. And of course, the relentless AoE attacks. No break whatsoever. Okay, now I have the trident or halberd or however you would like to call it. Hey, Dodger. Yeah, all the way back. And of course, it doesn't matter that I made a save file, right? It doesn't matter. The save file is not a checkpoint. This game technically doesn't. This game doesn't have checkpoints or quick saves or auto saving spots or anything like that. The game just doesn't care. If if you're not gonna find the autosave spot or a checkpoint, you're fucked. That's basically all there is to it.
Free your soul.
If you think that fighting only one of these guys is bad, just wait till we're gonna reach the pillars, because it gets even worse. This game is relentless, like I said. This game knows no mercy. It's not gonna be fair over here. 100% it's gonna be a very, very unfair difficulty level. I have an easier time, not in this game, not at this stage, not at this point. This is like the difficulty level increased to 100 and cranked up to 200%. See, I'm trying to dodge, like I'm legitimately dodging, and the game is like, no, we're gonna push you. We're gonna make sure that the damage box is constantly on him. Jesus Christ, I'm so happy that I managed to beat this guy. Yeah, I was highly aggravated, and reminding me that this game was making me angry does not make anything easier. Now the problem is, I have lost the trident, which was the only weapon that could give me any kind of range. I think that's the checkpoint spot. I'm gonna activate it before I'm gonna move any forward. There we go. So if I'm gonna die, I'm restarting from that point over there. But I'm still gonna bring up the trident because at least this weapon keeps the enemies at least a little bit away from me. Considering that the big bully guy is just... Oh. I see. Considering that big bully guy is just... He just doesn't take any stun locks. He just doesn't care. Most of the time, I mean, he has a stun lock like maybe 2-3 times, but besides that, nothing has worked. And I have to move back, because I need to have Fire Reaver with me. And there's a fire fountain right over there, so... The moment we're gonna... I'm gonna say this much. Pillars are probably the worst place to be right now. And we're actually gonna be over there. Because right now we are moving for... At the pillars there are gonna be 3 black bullies. Like... Yeah, that's it. There goes the pillars. Not really the pillars, it's still the... It's still this area, but it's actually pretty good because I know there's a safe spot over here, and the moment I'm gonna find it, I'm definitely gonna utilize it. Like, this is the maximum focus now. This is a maximum focus situation. Someone tells me that my left analog stick got destroyed by this game. I legitimately starting to think that my left analog stick is much loose. Much more loose. The first thing I want to find over here is the game. Stop using... Oh my god. Yeah, I lost the trident. Because of the cutscene.
shall not pass.
Okay, Gandalf. Absolutely relentless. I cannot fucking dodge this. Yeah, I'm going to Spectral Realm. Oh my god, I hate this game. I hate the last the last paths. The last moments of this game are absolutely just broken. They're broken beyond belief. The difficulty scaling just goes haywire. It just... You don't get a break. You just don't get a break. And at this point, I know there's no point of me also taking a break. Because if I'm gonna take a break, there's just no point of taking a break, pretty much. And I lost my Fire Reaver too. The only thing I haven't lost is the Halberd. But of course, with the moment you're gonna step into the swamp, your movement speed is reduced to 0. And also, the other problem is that I'm supposed to find a safe spot. Like an actual safe spot. Where I can save my game, and... for some reason, I just cannot find it anymore. I'm moving back to find that safe spot. I don't care. I don't care. I need to save my game. Well, also I'm gonna ignore all the enemies because there's just... These guys, there's no point of being bothered with them. Also, they can move in swamp without any troubles, while if you're gonna step into the swamps, you're getting 90% like movement reduction. You're basically gonna be as slow as a slug. See? He's moving with the same speed while look like how I am moving. Absolutely unfair. This is why I'm also glad that I'm not playing this game way too often, because this is like... this is the test of the patience. This is not even Dark Souls. Like, I'm gonna say it like this. In comparison to what's happening over here, Dark Souls looks like a freaking playchild thing. And I'm being honest. Dark Souls in comparison to this last phase of the game over here looks like a playground for children. Yeah, you cannot hear it because it's shocked, because this is just a game from 2001. It's just a PlayStation game. That means you're just shocked and you cannot play it. Okay, Timmy. Okay. Glad that you know that. I'm perfectly sure, Timmy, that you have beaten, or at least tried to beat all Dark Souls games, and you can definitely find a comparison. Like an adequate or even accurate comparison between the two. Okay, now we got this guy beaten. We got a safe spot over here. I'm gonna take the Light Reaver. Are we having an easier time? You get an easier time for like 60% of the game. After you find those armored Seraphim warriors, the game just drastically jumps in the difficulty. Like, let's for example, you have, if we could compare this game in difficulty, for the first 50% of the game, enemies are reasonably challenging, right? The moment you find the armored Seraphim warriors, the game jumps into difficulty to 100% from 50. And then when you try to get back to the Seraphim Stronghold, that 100% cranks up to 150. In a matter of fact, I'm willing to say that this is an understatement. That the game is not even cranking to 100%. I'm willing to say that the game cranks to even more than that. Also, I'm not bothering with fighting those shadows, because fighting them technically does not restore anything for me. It just doesn't do anything to me. They will not give me their souls, but these guys will. Dodge that. Instead of taking that health, I'm actually losing it right now because of this guy. I don't know if I'm ever gonna do Marathon Legacy of Kain. Mostly probably because of this game. Like, this game has a good story, but anything else just sucks. And I couldn't dodge that because the video game. See that? Even when I'm dodging, this guy's just perfectly locked on me. And back to the Spectre realm. Fair and balanced. Yeah, I'm never gonna stream or play Blood Omen 2 because Blood Omen 2, in my opinion, is not it's not a Legacy of Kain game. End of story. It's not a good game in any sense. Not even when it comes to combat-wise. Yeah, look at these fuckers over there. All of them. I also, yeah, most likely I have lost my halberd, so I cannot get it back anymore. I kind of wish there was a mod over here that would... Oh my god, just... I kind of wish that there was a mod for this game that maybe nerfs the enemies a little bit. Yeah, that would be great. I would definitely like that. Yeah, this way. Because, you know, in comparison to Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1, in Soul Reaver 1 you only had to fear like one type of enemies, but you still could beat them. It was the one from Turalim. They were still difficult, but they are not as painful as here. They're basically balanced. Here, just balance goes out of the window for the last stages of the game. And I remember having a very difficult time beating this game 7 years ago, and all those memories are getting back. I mean, there is a reason on why I'm remembering that there was at the very stage you said the Pillars of Nosgoth. Why I do remember that it was the worst part of the game, the most difficult part of the game. As a matter of fact, I'm oh my god, I'm willing to say that it's not even like... Well, I cannot say that it's not difficult, because it is difficult. But it's not a good way of difficult. It's not like it's challenging or basically testing your patience or anything like that. Oh, I should actually correct that. That definitely tests out your patience, don't get me wrong. But it is not a good test of patience. I mean, we're gonna see. Because we're currently right underneath the pillars of Nosgoth. But still not the outside of the pillars of Nosgoth. Also, there's a safe spot over here. Which you can bet your sweet cheeks I'm going to use it.
You have failed me, Raziel.
I wonder, Old One. Did you truly resurrect me, or were you simply there when I awakened from my torment in the abyss? I suspect you found me merely convenient, dropped in your lair by Kain, indestructible for some reason, a durable and gullible tool for you to manipulate. This one thing I readily admit. I have been used by others time and again, but always I seem to stray from their path. What is it about me, demon, that makes me such an unreliable instrument? Why do I survive one trial after another, on and on, in an endless succession of humiliating deaths and resurrections? It seems there is much more to my destiny and my history than I know. Perhaps more than you know as well.
I'll definitely stream Defiance. I will say this much about Defiance. Defiance is definitely... I would say that Defiance is easier. With development of Defiance, the game makers, developers have learned the lesson. And they definitely did not make the end parts of the game to be absolutely, you know, unbeatable, unplayable, and overall torture. They definitely have stepped away from that. So yes, that is actually good. And that's a positive side about the Reaver. When the Reaver is fully charged, it's pretty much a guaranteed one hit on most enemies. And you also ignore the defenses. Which you would ask yourself a question, why then I don't just use the Reaver all the time? Well, if the enemies would allow me to dodge properly, if the game wasn't bullying me for actively trying to use the Reaver, that would be great. Because let me tell you something. If you use a Reaver and you give it a full charge, sure, you get the maximum damage output. And that is 100% true. What game will not tell you is that it also gonna, with the maximum charge of the Reaver, your health is gonna get consumed in a microsecond. That is this one thing that the game is not gonna tell you. I don't know if you guys notice how fast the remaining of my health just went down. By the way, this is now the worst part. Wow, one-trick pony, by the way. One-trick pony. I just died to a shadow. I can't fucking believe that, dude. On the plus side, I have my full health back. On the bad side, I need to find the Fire Forge. And also I have lost the charge of the Reaver as well. And I do not have any other weapons. Oh boy. I think I mentioned it before, but like last week, but I would genuinely prefer for this game to basically, if you have the active Reaver, you're not getting punished by basically, if you kill the enemy, the Reaver takes the entire soul, the Reaver takes the entire charge. What I think would be better if the Reaver would take maybe 75% of it, and the remaining 25% up from the enemy or from the enemy soul, Raziel basically gets as health. Because it would make even sense story-wise, because Raziel basically considers Reaver to be a parasite that's attached to him. And it makes sense what I'm saying, because parasites don't want their host to die. If the parasite's main role is to consume the host out of sustenance, while still keeping him alive at least to a minimal point. Here, if you kill the enemy with the Reaver, well, say goodbye to your souls, you know, say goodbye to your healing. And if you overcharge the Reaver, well, then the Reaver drains even more HP. Yep, there it is. That's the pillars. This is where I remember this is the most difficult fight of the game. I don't even know if I should consider this a boss fight. But it is definitely one of the more difficult fights in the game. Period. Just watch it. Yeah, that's a big bully. 3 big bullies. 3.
What a fool.
3. And of course, 2 of them attacking from behind with the long range attacks, and they never miss. And of course, you get the AoE over here, and it's just an absolute shithole. And you get no fucking break at all. No break. Okay, 1 left. And hello, Spectral Realm. I did not even see that attack. Thank you, game. God. I actually managed to first time this. Holy shit. How the hell did I manage to first time this thing? I have no idea. Holy cow. I mean, I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. I am happy that I managed to first time this thing, but Jesus wept. And now I'm gonna die to these guys because they are just an absolute abuses of hitboxes in the fucking range. And one trick pony. Just, you know, just continue jabbing. That's the best that they can do. Just keep on jabbing. Oh my god. It almost... I always call them L1 spammers because for everybody who have ever played Dark Souls games, you know, L1 spammers, especially in Dark Souls 3, when you had a weapon and you could basically constantly attack with one single attack all the freaking time, and these guys are doing that quite notoriously. One trick pony again. How I love being obstructed by a fucking tree. Okay, give me that sword. Yeah, you are not going that way. Bitch. Can I pick up my trident? Thank you. Because I feel more comfortable with the trident than with the sword, especially against the human enemies. I mean, one thing is a human enemy. What about the freaking demons? I think demons are gonna be a different story. I'm also gonna take the Wind Reaver because why not? Not really planning to get back over here anytime soon. Oh, he's gonna die. Okay, that's a checkpoint, by the way. So if I'm gonna die anytime soon... If I'm gonna die anytime soon, this is the place where I'm gonna spawn back. So that's good. That's actually pretty freaking good. Oh boy. Yeah, the mage needs to die first. Okay, so far so good. So far so good. If I recall, there should be a safe zone somewhere over here, as in safe spot. Can't really recall 100% though. Hey guys, guess what got copyright claimed on YouTube automatically? The intro to Fallout 3. The video of the Fallout 3 still didn't get published, but it already got a copyright claim. But it's only a claim on YouTube. It's not a copyright strike, so that's two different things. Where's that witch? But hey, it's I'm okay with the copyright claiming because I'm not really going to like focus my career with YouTube in any shape or form. But if the Twitch is not gonna get a grip, I'm probably gonna move over there. Oh my god, just allow me to move! For like, give me a microsecond of like a break, you fucking cunt! Jesus! I wanted to consume the soul of that witch as well. But of course the game did not allow me because this guy just constantly stun lock, stun lock, stun lock. And there's another witch over there. Oh my god, I hate my life.
Return to hell! Hurry your soul, demon!
Also, if I'm gonna try to auto-lock on her, see what happens? She's running faster than I can move. What is that soul doing all the way over there? There we go. Now let me pick up that sword, because there's another witch. The best way to defeat the witch, as I call them, or summoners or mages, is to just stab them like this. Make them run and just stab them. Because with halberd, you have to make the entire swing. With the sword, it's just a jab. Like this. You know, you used to have those really nice things in the first Legacy of Kain called glyphs, the glyphs of power. And in Soul Reaver 2, they are just out of the window. The glyphs are just non-existent anymore. Because you could like stun, not that you stun, push away the enemies, you could burn them, you could stun them. There was like so many useful abilities. In here, you only can rely on your own Reaver, pretty much. In Defiance, that doesn't change, but the thing is, in Defiance, the game is pretty much more balanced. Well, I think she got the point. Okay, I think the worst part is technically behind us. I sincerely believe that the worst part of the entire game is away from our range, so we are 100% perfectly good to go. Now it's only to clear up this zone from the enemies, and we're basically all good.
Guard me, brothers!
If you ever think that this game have forgotten how to be an absolute jank fest, you're gonna be surprised.
Guard me, brothers!
I am sincerely believing that this game is much more janky than the Soul Reaver 1. And that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, I'm saving this bitch. Oh, hell no. I am not losing any of the progress, dude. Okay, so I would need to find the Fire Forge. Not the Fire Forge, I mean the Fire Fountain to do this. And I think I just found one. Yep, there it is. Okay, so that's one thing. I actually have been here before. Because the last week that I tried to beat this was... basically when you get over here, you're gonna get stuck over here. If you basically get over here but you don't have the Fire Reaver, the game basically, you are soft blocking yourself. There's no way back. The game gives you a cutscene that there's some kind of way of passage, and that is it. There's nothing else about that. Okay, so we have melted the water, I think. At least enough to open the gate, so now I need to find the light forge. Or light fountain, if you will. Which, if I'm correct, I've seen one all the way in the coast. Yeah, I can even hear it right now. So I just probably need to climb and get it.
Over there!
Over there!
Return to hand!
Oh, that was fair. See what I'm saying?
Return to hand!
Whew. I'm actually glad that I don't play this game too often. this game is definitely a form of a stress test. Wait, where was the forge? Oh, it's over there. Okay, so I just missed the jump. Okay, fine. I think the other thing that would be considered problematic when it comes to this game is the field of view. You have a very, very limited field of view. I actually wonder if there's a fix for the field of view in this game. Just out of pure curiosity. Because I was actually trying to find some mods on Nexus, but this game doesn't have any mods. The modding for the game is dead. There's only like a reshape preset, but there's only one reshape preset. And that's it. So I don't even count that as a modding. Alright, like I said, I am not taking a break because this is pretty much the last stage of the game. I'd rather beat this entire game in one run rather than taking a break and then having a 30-minute video. That's just seems inadequate. Oh no, the doors are closing. What a shame. But yeah, now we only have Seraphans, and I believe that's the only enemies that we're actually gonna encounter from this point on. The attack speed of these guys, like, I could not even move. That's what I'm saying when I'm using term broken difficulty. I am not throwing that term loosely. You really cannot, like, it is so rough. It is so difficult to fight.
Seize him!
Seize him! Like, you get no break. You guys can attest, for the people who have played the Dark Souls games, you guys know for a fact that I'm right when I'm saying that the enemies in this game are just unforgivably fast. They're just not giving you a moment of a chance of a break to simply breathe even, like, Jesus. Like, you get absolutely zero chance. Holy shit. I'm gonna definitely, I will say this as well. Yes, that's my message. I will definitely have much easier time playing Dark Souls than
Suddenly and inexplicably,
playing this.
I discovered the Reaver suspiciously laid across my path. Again, I sensed nothing of that
Lander is
temporal
broken.
distortion, the peculiar sense of displacement I had felt when I encountered the Reaver in William's chapel. Cornered here with the blade, I suffered the same nameless dread that I had experienced when Janos first presented the Reaver to me. I felt at once repelled by the blade, and yet overwhelmingly compelled to seize it.
So, Raziel, here we are finally. You have no choice but to confront me now, and I am not so foolish as I've let you believe. We have business to conclude.
You knew I would lead the Sarafan to Janos, you vile bastard. You've been orchestrating my every move. My destiny is an amusement to you.
It was fun while it lasted. I think not, Raziel. Malik, do not let this creature leave. He poses a danger to the Circle. Poor, deluded Raziel. Did you somehow imagine you had the guile to change history on me? I'm the Time Streamer. I knew your every intention before you did, you imbecile.
They can feast on your corpses!
Lord Mobius, there is trouble within. The Circle is under
Hold
attack.
fast, Malik. This one is the real danger to us.
What are you trying to concoct here, Mobius?
You toxic creature. Did you imagine I'd simply allow you to run loose, corrupting everything you encounter?
I admit that I've underestimated you to this point, Mobius. It's a mistake I won't repeat.
Wrong again, Raziel. Now, Malik, bolt the door.
Using his staff to disable my Wraithblade, Mobius effectively disarmed me, leaving me with only one choice of weapon. And yet I confess, it was not the lack of options, but blind rage that made me take up the Reaver. In my fury, it felt as though my hand had acted of its own will. And now, that same hand clutched the hilt with unyielding strength, and I felt a constrained tingling, a remote but palpable sense of longing, as the disabled Wraithblade tried vainly to embrace its physical twin.
Hey, Ice Clone. Yep. Streamer stream. I'm streaming every day. And I'm getting punished. Like, this game, at this point in difficulty, this game is super punishing. It knows no bounds and no mercy.
Come to take your revenge, demon.
Back to hell with you!
I recognize these two as my former brethren, in life as Sarafan, and in unlife as Kain's vampire sons. Melchiah and Zephon, the weakest of Kain's brood. These bastards had no idea what future lay in store for them, how they would become the very thing they so despised. The Reaver hummed with ravenous anticipation. Janos had called it a vampiric blade, endowed with the power to drain its victims of their lifeblood. I was eager to see what the Reaver would do to these two.
Yeah, they're both attacking at the same time. Also, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I'm not losing any health with the Reaver. This is where the game basically becomes a cheese game for the sake of story. I wish I could separate them. Like Orstein in smoke, just separate them. Yeah, right now they're attacking two at the same time. And they're also relentless. Holy shit, can you stop L1 spamming, you fucking piece of shit? Jesus Christ. Like, look at the speed of those enemies. Like, I'm currently running on technically God mode that the game gave me by itself. Yeah, it's pretty much a GG. Once you get a Reaver, you basically cannot die. The game gives you those final boss fights, but they are irrelevant, pretty much.
As Melchiah and Zephon fell before my blade, I felt the Reaver's bloodthirst as keenly as I ever had when I was still a vampire. I could sense the boundary between us dissolving. The Reaver was consumed with my rage, and I was intoxicated by its bloodlust. The blade had a vitalizing effect on me. My physical energy no longer decayed over time.
Told you.
The wounds inflicted by my foes healed almost instantly. The Reaver had made me invincible.
You get free God mode because the game plot demands it. Just as I told you guys.
Have you come to reclaim the monster's black heart?
You'll have to get to us first.
My former brethren, Duma and Rahab, confronted me next. This all seemed so elegantly choreographed. Exhilarated by the Reaver, I was drunk with revelations. I could finally appreciate the delicious irony of Kain's blasphemous private joke, and I reveled as I colluded with him across the centuries. For it was I who put these bastards in their tomb, thus providing the corpses for Kain to raise as his vampire sons a millennium from now.
The amount of speed that these guys have, oh my god. And of course, no break. You have, I mean, the game just makes you invincible because even the developers knew. I think that even developers have knew that they have made the last part of the game so dang unbelievably unfair and difficult that they really had to do something about it. Hey, Scar. Oh my god. I'm sincerely, I'm gonna get a freaking controller overlay for this game. Just like for Dark Souls. For Dark Souls, I'm getting a controller overlay. But I should actually put the controller overlay for this game as well. Oh my god, can this game... Holy shit, now it's only you. Where am I from? I don't know. I'm from fucking Moldavia right now. I'm from South Africa. I'm from who the fuck knows, Davia. I'm currently trying to fight. Okay. There we go. I'm actually from Poland. I was born and raised. In Poland, still living over there. Perhaps maybe one day I will get a chance to not live in Poland anymore. So I can get a chance of how does it feel to live somewhere else.
To the pit you crawled from, demon.
And here at last was my brother Tyrell, who along with Duma would bear me into the abyss without questioning Kain's command. So dutiful and righteous, even as a vampire. I guess some habits die hard. The vampire Tyrell had eluded my vengeance. The Sarafan Tyrell would not.
Oh my Jesus. See this? I wasn't even in his range and he's like just constantly jabbing all the time. Like even if I'm gonna make a dodge. Okay. And now the game even oh my god, the game have lost the freaking aiming at him. No. My English is so good because I was basically, you know, I was learning it for over, like how much? 13, 15 years, something like that? And then, of course, video games, movies, having conversations in English all the time, that also contributes. And it contributes a lot towards basically to knowing how to speak English. Okay, so this gate is closed. So which one was open? I think it was this door over there, because we still have to fight one more boss fight or mini boss. It's not even a mini boss fight. This is like pretty much the entire stage over here is a boss fight. But yeah, basically learning English and talking in English and doing everything that has any kind of connection to English language.
So, vampire, here we are. You've destroyed my brethren, and now you've come for me. You'll find I'm not such easy prey. I don't want to kill you, but I will if I must. Return the heart to me, and we can end this now. So, you've come to avenge that filthy parasite and reclaim his foul heart. You're a righteous fiend, aren't you? Apparently I am. No, vampire. This is where it ends. But you won't be leaving this room. Now, let's finish this. I'll make it mercifully quick. As you did for Janos? No, that beast had eluded us for far too long. It would have been a shame to end him too quickly. It's ironic, really. The great Janos Ordrin turned out to be no challenge at all. Thanks to you. Did you hear his cowardly screams when I tore that black heart out of his carcass?
These guys are basically, this guy is basically a guided fucking missile. That's what he is. Don't like Witcher games? No. Because I have tried to play Witcher 1. The combat gameplay of Witcher 1 is absolutely bad. And reason, I basically have played Witcher 1 and I decided never to play Witcher again. Because even if Witcher 3 is good, it doesn't matter. I will not start the Witcher game from the third game in the series. Did fucking he just stopped his power attack in the middle? Oh my god. I'm not gonna start to play a different game, like a different game series from the third game, when I know that I didn't beat the first two, and the actions of the first two games have an implementation on the third game as well. How is this remotely fair? Like, and of course, every single attack that I do, he knows instantly that I'm going to perform it. Just blocks every possible attack, and he attacks so fast that there's no way for me. And look at this. Okay, I'm dodging all the time. Okay, right now I'm just simply trying to dodge. Look at his movement. Every single of his attack just contacts me. Even though it doesn't matter if I'm going to perform the dodge or not. Like, the only chance for me to avoid his attack is to make him use the power attack, his power attack. But even then, he just performs those attacks so quickly that I cannot even do anything. Holy shit, this game is so bad. This game has a horrendous combat system. Like, this game literally, it gives you God mode so you can beat this game. This is where you know the developers were running out of ideas and the development was rushed and without any good ideas whatsoever. Like, the story is great, but god, the combat and the gameplay just changes so much. So drastically too. With no mercy. There's just... And the AI is constantly blocking your attacks. It just predicts your every move, no matter what you're gonna do. Holy fuck, this game.
I renounce you.
My wrists are hurting. My wrists are genuinely hurting right now from this.
And so it ends.
Oh my god.
My history comes full circle. Sensing its twin, the Wraithblade uncoiled itself from me, and instead wound lovingly around its former self. I felt its grip loosen, and as the blade left me, its absence chilled me more than its presence ever had. A foreboding sense of emptiness and loss stole over me, and a terrible revelation gathered like a storm at the edge of my awareness. With all other foes exhausted, the conjoined blades turned themselves on me, and I realized, finally, why I had sensed nothing when Janos offered me the blade. The Reaver was never forged to be a soul-stealing weapon. The ravenous, soul-devouring entity trapped in the blade was, and always had been, me. This is why the blade was destroyed when Kain tried to strike me down. The Reaver could not devour its own soul. The paradox shattered the blade. So, this was my terrible destiny. To play out this purgatorial cycle for all eternity. I could not bear it. Despair overwhelmed me. You.
Are you enjoying this game?
Don't fight it, Raziel.
Give into it. Was this your destiny for me all along?
Trust me. I felt myself weakening, unable to hold on any longer. The Reaver was too strong. The compulsion to simply let go, too great. And then, a growing sense of vertigo and the familiar displacement. The paradoxical moment when my twin soul hovered both outside and inside the Reaver blade. This was the instant, the glimmer of temporal distortion Kain had been counting on all along. This was the edge of the coin, the minute flicker of probability upon which Kain had gambled everything.
Now you are free to reclaim your true destiny, Raziel.
Behind Kain's eyes, I could see new memories blooming and dying as history labored to reshuffle itself around this monumental obstruction. And I could see by the dawning horror on his face that perhaps we had strained history too far this time. That by trying to alter my fate, he may have introduced a fatal paradox.
My God. The Hilden. We walked right into their trap. Raziel, Janos must stay dead.
But Kain's warning was lost as I slipped into the spirit realm, too weak to maintain my physical form. And there, waiting for me as always, was the Reaver, the Wraithblade, my own soul, twinned and bound eternally to me. And I realized that I could never escape my terrible destiny. I had merely postponed it. History abhors a paradox.
Oh, yep. That's pretty much the credits and also the end of the game. I don't think I want to watch the credits, honestly.
Kain refused the sacrifice.
I don't really want to watch the credits. And a matter of fact, I'm gonna spend a little bit of time throwing on a critic or two of this video game. Yeah, we don't need the display capture anymore. I'm gonna throw a minute or two of actually criticizing this game because there is a little bit to say about it. Actually, no. Let's go for the display capture because it's actually more thematic because of the Soul Reaver. So let me put the good things that are about this game. I usually don't take a look at the graphics, but for a game for 2002, graphic-wise, theme-wise, still holds up pretty freaking great. Still pretty freaking good. Sure, most of the animations are kind of wonky on the characters and the facial animations can be sometime be delayed, but they are working properly. So that is absolutely great. That's working fantastically. The best thing about this game is the voice acting. As always, Michael Bay. Not Michael Bay. What the fuck? Michael Bell. J. Tony or Tony J. Simon Templeman. Yeah, take a look at that. Fucking Michael Bay, the voice actor. Michael Bay, the voice actor. But yeah, what else I can say about this game? Well, like I said, the best thing about this game is history. The history is being told properly, one at a time. The puzzles are not difficult. I think the only difficult puzzle that I have witnessed was the one at the very end when I have to like do the blood chalices. I basically didn't know that I have to align the light beam from a Reaver so you can actually hit both of the dark panels, those little panels with the crystals in between them. I didn't know I had to do that, so that took me a little while to figure out, but we managed to do that, so I'm happy about it. The puzzles are not bad. The Reavers themselves are also alright. But now when it comes to the kind of bad stuff is we're gonna start with the obvious horse in the room, difficulty of the game. Like I said, the first 50% up to 60% of the game is good. It's balanced. It punishes you if you make a mistake. It rewards you if you actually perform dodges. If you do different movements, that's great. That's good. The problem is that the moment you're gonna go for the regular armed servant soldiers, the moment you're gonna go for the area where you have to go for the Janus Audron, this difficulty scaling just goes off the fucking roof. It just ignores the fact that you're trying to dodge, because enemies constantly know where you're gonna attack, how they're gonna move, what they're gonna do. Also, the one thing I think the one thing that is actually not done properly with all of this is the fact that the block button in Legacy of Kain Story River 2 is not centered anyway on either X, square, circle, or triangle. The block button is on a start. Who the fuck thought that this is a good idea? Like, seriously, who the fuck thought that putting a block on a start button is a good idea? The other thing, like I said, when it comes to difficulty, the difficulty just scales way too much up high. It should not be done that way. The game even the game even gives you cheats at the very end of the game for the sake of the story, just so we can beat up the game, just so we can figure out the story, because it can be very, very rough. Sure, if you have enough patience, you can just go for the entire game just by using Reaver. Then pretty much the whole game becomes, well, it becomes easier, but also becomes harder, because, like I said, the more you're gonna go for Janus Audron, the difficulty scaling is absolutely horrendous. The enemy's constantly predicting every single move you do. They attack notoriously. They don't perform variety of attacks. They just stun lock you with one attack to piss you off, and then when the game knows, because I truly believe that this game has its intelligence on its own, once the game knows you are annoyed enough, they perform a fast power attack so they can stun lock you in a place for even longer, just totally punishing you for something that you have absolutely no control over. As we could see, even at the final boss fights of the game just even sends you two enemies at you, and they're both constantly, notoriously attacking. You cannot dodge, you cannot do anything, because even if you're gonna attempt the dodging, you're gonna get hit. You dodge, you hit. You attack, you get hit. You try to attack, enemy instantly knows how to block every single of your attacks. Absolutely relentlessly punishing, just grinding your patience, your wrists and your hands and your brain to the ground, and not letting you go, not even giving you a moment to take a break. Like, honestly, if the game gives you a system where you basically cheat, the game basically allows you to cheat because it makes you immortal. If you cannot make sure that the game can be balanced, and the game guide just allows you to constantly cheat just because it can allow you to cheat because of the plot, that's not a good method. It is absolutely not a good method. It should never be done that way. I think that the game should basically keep the same level of difficulty. Like, I think I had the most challenging and I had the most fun when I went before I went to Janus Audron Fortress. I think the game had the best difficulty scaling right there. It was basically perfect. Because, like I said, the game punished you if you were constantly attacking, and if you were actually dodging and utilizing the movements properly, the game was rewarding you with enemies not being able to really track your movements that well. Also, speaking of the tracking movements, the controls are fucking weird. They're absolutely fucking weird. If you try to play this game on a keyboard, I think it's the old video games dilemma, because you can basically, with mouse and keyboard, you can control your camera with the mouse, but when it comes to like using Raziel, you have to use the arrow keys. You cannot use the WSD. Sure, you probably can change it in the menu, but why is that that it is not an option from the very beginning? It basically puts you into this very uncomfortable position from probably health-wise, but that's even a little bit of exaggeration, because for the very long time in video gaming, if you wanted to make a move, you actually use just the arrow keys or the numpad keys. So I guess that I can forgive, because it's an old video game from 21 years ago. So I guess I can let it slide. But if you're using a controller, when it comes to the aspects of combat and having everything very close to you, the controller is the way to go when it comes to playing this game. Because, for example, you have the auto-facing on R1, and you can basically perform dodges with the left stick. I don't know why they have decided to abandon the right analog stick. It could be used for so much more than just being basically a waste of space and waste of, I don't know, inventory. I mean, not inventory, basically a waste. It's not being utilized. It's just a thin air. That's what the right analog stick is. If there is one complaint about controls that I could have is when you auto-face the enemy. How to put it? Okay, in Soul Reaver 1, when you had the auto-facing, you could run around the enemy, but you could still perform a dodge because the dodge was not dependent on where the Raziel looks, but dependent on where the enemy is positioned. In Soul Reaver 2, your dodge is dependent on where the Raziel is looking. So, for example, if you have the auto-facing enemy, okay, let me put it like this. You guys can see it. You guys can see the desktop. The trash is the enemy because enemies are trash. And this note over here, this little wannabe mod list, that's me. If I'm looking at enemy over here, I have to use up and down to perform the dodges. To simply avoid enemy attacks. But if I'm gonna suddenly swap my position over here, that is out of the question. I cannot use up and down because if we're gonna use up, my character is gonna go actually up, and if I'm gonna go down, my character is going to go down. And most of the time it creates a very confusing situation where basically every time when I try to perform a dodge, my character does not move back away or to the side. My character constantly moves towards the enemy, but because we are talking the AI of the enemy enemy detects it and attacks me. Basically forcing me to take the hit no matter if I want it or not. That is the other problem. Like, the controls are not consistent. Once you figure it out, it's actually okay, but the problem is you're gonna forget about it really freaking quick. You're gonna forget about it very, very quickly. And I do believe they actually fixed that in Legacy of Kain Defiance, which I'm actually thinking about doing the Defiance. It's gonna be my second playthrough ever, but it's also going to be like a playthrough in like once since like 5 years ago, so I'm still going to consider that as the first playthrough. But I'm definitely going to do Defiance, and I think Defiance actually balances out the issues with difficulty a little bit better because you don't have situations where the game basically gives you the cheat so you can beat the game. The other thing when it comes to controls that I can truly have a legitimate complaint about is on a mouse and keyboard, aiming with the Reaver is a joy because you can just press the A button and then you just use the mouse so you can aim with the Reaver at whatever point you actually want to get. You do actually what you want. With the controller, which I thought would be much more reliable, the system is much, much worse. Why? Because you have to press the left analog stick down so you can basically look around you, and then you have to press triangle to aim. But the problem is, if you squeeze the R3 button, you eventually gonna go so far up or down or left or right with the analog stick that eventually you are not even gonna feel it, and you're gonna release the left analog stick. And basically the game does not remember where you aimed last time, so you have to go through this entire process again. And also it has this weird, I don't know how to call it. It has this weird acceleration, so you pretty much have to very slowly aim with your controller if you really want to hit your target. If you really want to hit your specific target, you really have to be very, very patient. And I remember several times when I actually was kind of angry because of me trying to aim with something with a controller, and even at the Janos retreat, I have swapped several times because to the mouse and keyboard controls when I was trying to aim because of how annoying using the aiming with a controller actually is. from the other things that I could criticize or cherish or complain about, I don't think there's really much